a young person's eagerness to find their talent and their passion and then invite you to help them learn and grow with that, it's not something to be squandered.
I'm Dr. Lamont Repollet, the president of Kean, New Jersey's Urban Research University. This is Urban Impact, a podcast where we examine the complex issues facing urban communities through meaningful conversations with scholars, community leaders, and others who are driving change. Recorded and produced on our campus in Union, New Jersey, this is Urban Impact. Here are your hosts, Michael Salvatore and Barbara George Johnson.
Welcome back to Urban Impact.
In continuing our discussion of sustainability, it is our pleasure to welcome to Urban Impact our colleague, Felice Vazquez, Esquire, and Senior Vice President of Planning and Special Counsel to the President at Kean University. Felice, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mike and Barbara.
So most universities talk about sustainability, but Kean is about doing it. And we are excited to know that Kean received a STARS recognition, I believe a silver recognition by STARS, right, which is the university or higher education system that looks at sustainability and how universities are really taking action to do something about sustainability. So can you talk to us about STARS, what the scale means and what it means to be a silver recognized university?
Yeah, sure. My pleasure. You're absolutely right. ASHE is the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And STARS is their tracking system that's used throughout the United States and beyond for assessing sustainability. And it has a rating system, which as you indicated, this first submission for Kean University obtained and achieved the silver rating, which we're really pleased with. It's a really good start to be recognized that way.
So you're the co-chair of the Presidential Task Force for Sustainability. You do that with Professor Shevitz. And what I just learned, apparently there's 47 people on this committee?
At least. So I think that it's still growing. It's certainly the possibility because you both know my co-chair, Dr. Shevitz. She's very passionate about engagement, very passionate about sustainability. And so she is always making an effort to reach out to the larger Kean community and remind folks there's always space at the table for one more person to want to get engaged with this work.
You know, it's hard enough to kind of organize a meeting with a few people in it, but having 40, 50 people involved, tell me about this process a little bit. You know, what does it entail? What's the commitment? Actually, who are the stakeholders that are at the table?
Yeah, you know, you hit on a point that I was really concerned about in the beginning of the process. Danielle and I were sitting down at the table, rolling up our sleeves, having a series of meetings, talking about where we want to go now that the president gave us the green light to actually create this task force and do this work. Daniela knew from the beginning that she was interested in having as many people as possible involved in the process. I was concerned that that would be unmanageable, slow down our work and create obstacles for goal achievement, unmanageable. We had to work through that together, and we were just both so committed to finding the right path that we could lead. And it occurred to us that starting with this ASHE STARS process could be the way. It would provide the organization and the methodology that I was feeling we needed to keep focus, to move forward on a particular path, but also enabled us to create these different goal leader groups, spread out the work, and let other leaders help us keep this large group focused.
Cool.
So, Felice, tell me a little bit about the physical aspect of sustainability as we look around the campus. Kean's a beautiful campus, and we are always sure to make sure that we have the beautiful greenery, the green spaces, et cetera, on campus that I think really connects to environmental justice, the environmental science. We had a conversation earlier about warming and global warming and climate change. How do you see the task force that you're working on integrating some of these various aspects of the process, of the thought process around sustainability, the physical plant, the environmental justice as we exist in Union County and in a community that's an urban community and urban space? How did you all sort of approach this diverse understanding of sustainability?
Yeah, that's a interesting question because sustainability really is, and it kind of relates to the question that Mike was just asking. It is such a big topic, right? And we all tend to automatically think about sustainability in terms of environmental sustainability first, but we all know that it goes far beyond that. It's about sustainable communities. It's about sustainable growth for humans, right? It's a much bigger thing. And there are a lot more nuances into pursuing environmental sustainability alone. That was another thing that ASHE STARS and the process was really helpful with, because they map out categories for you to pursue sustainability in different goals. And so we had goal leaders overseeing the academic side. We had a goal leader to oversee the operations and physical plant. We had another one for planning and administration, and then another one for engagement. And so this way we could have different teams of this larger group focus on all those elements of sustainability and allow our community members that wanted to get involved choose an area that really ignited their personal passion.
You know what, Barbara and I, we were talking about what we love about the podcast is we get to learn about people, but we also get to learn what they're doing and the impact. Can you tell me a little bit about the learning process for you, kind of spearheading this enormous committee, having these subgroups broken out by expertise and probably by passion?
One of the things, and I think this is often what you find when you start out on a new initiative, especially with big groups and people you haven't previously really worked closely with, that came out was in the academic side of the application, we had to look at the curriculum and identify courses that focused on sustainability, and then you got a different point assignment for courses that had sustainability elements in the curriculum. And there were two things that struck me. One was that it hadn't yet occurred to us that we should have some way to code that. You'll be interested in this, Mike, right? Because it seemed we hadn't done that yet. Until this process, we didn't see why we would need that. So we had folks on that committee, and even they recruited more folks to help, manually going through, doing outreach, it took a lot of conversations. Hey, did you realize that in T2K we do this kind of work, which diversity relates to how you pursue sustainability? They did a large manual process. I'm sure we still didn't capture everything, which is part of why I'm sure you want to talk about later how we think we're on the path to gold for our next submission. Sure, we didn't capture everything, but through this manual process, we identified that and learned that we had a lot of courses that were dealing with sustainability, a lot more than we thought we were going to come up with. And so it's really exciting to know that there are so many people at Kean University incorporating sustainability into their curriculum. It's being worked into so many of the courses. And we all know that that is really in line with our mission and how we want to define ourselves today and in the future.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why higher ed should even consider sustainability and making that sort of thread through every aspect of the university's offerings in terms of classes and curriculum and program. And how does that tie into the aspiration of Kean to be an R2 research institution?
I'll start by tying it into some of the elements in my division, right? I have the Human Rights Institute, the great fortune to have the Human Rights Institute, Holocaust Resource Center designated a center of excellence in the nation, the largest Holocaust education center in the state of New Jersey, and Diversity Council on Global Education and Citizenship that is represented by more than 100 school districts across New Jersey, coming together to help each other learn how to teach the Holocaust, teach about genocide and prejudice reduction throughout their school systems. When I think about that hard work and the fact that I'm not a scholar in this area, I have people that work for me who are, and all these wonderful teachers and school administrators who come together for me to learn from. But it's sometimes, it's always humbling, but sometimes a little overwhelming. Like, what can we really achieve with this? And then I look at it and say, at every moment in time, we have 15 to 16,000 students in New Jersey at Kean, another 4,000 plus currently in China. Just imagine if this year we just truly inspired and found the talent and the passion in 1% of our students, and they become effective advocates for a more sustainable future. That's still a big accomplishment, and we do more than that, and we're on track to still do more. So to me, it's always been part of Kean's DNA. It is now more than ever. We'll continue to grow that. But it's also absolutely what higher education should be doing. And any higher education institution that isn't, they are missing one of the greatest opportunities presented to them.
I just want to add to that. Absolutely. Here, when students are here on campus, it's an opportunity to grow their minds, right? We talk about neuroplasticity, to get them to start to think very differently. We talked about behavioral change at one point in this conversation on sustainability. So we have the opportunity, because we have a captured audience, right? To your point, Felice, to be able to grow their minds and their thinking and their behavior and become effective and impactful in this area once they leave Kean. So yeah, absolutely.
That's right. A young person's eagerness to find their talent and their passion, and then invite you to help them learn and grow with that. It's not something to be squandered. And this is the right kind of things for us to be doing. And Kean always has and always will.
We have a group of folks on campus today with a sustainability summit led by Professor Shevitz, Professor Woodruff. It's got 35 districts represented, 90 people. We have representatives from the Department of Education speaking on it. And the message early on was, we want to be your partner.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the campus community, it's the external agencies that we want to connect with. And that's the way you make change. That's the way you make impactful change. I know one of our core values here is public impact. That's the way you do it, by connecting with people. Can you tell me a little bit about this? So we talked about that gold standard. What's next?
The next components, in large part, for the task force, will be guided by the outcome of our first application and report, right? So it shows you how many points you can get for each of the different elements within the different categorical goals, and how many we actually achieved. So that shows us exactly how much room for improvement we have in the ASHE STARS system. But there's a lot more. You talked about the summit that's happening right now. That will grow and continue to reach more students, more educators, more partners. We had an environmental summit at Wenzhou Kean as well, and they participated in this application. It includes information that they're involved in. I'm looking forward to going there, leaving on Sunday, and the Vice Chancellor of Campus Planning over there is eagerly waiting to talk about the outcome of this application and how we can take the information we gathered and work together on a two-country initiative moving forward. And that'll certainly include the President's new research grants that we launched at the last Wenzhou Kean board meeting. And I want to recognize Wenzhou Kean and my colleague, Vice Chancellor Zhang, because Wenzhou Kean was also ranked as Zhejiang's provincial green campus. So they are moving on the same track. We're moving with a shared vision. And I think, Barbara, you talked about what's next and how this contributes to our R2 designation. The joint research between Wenzhou Kean in China and Kean University in New Jersey, for sustainability and sustainable initiatives for the future, having our students from these two campuses working together, the impact that that can have on our future is really exciting to me.
You know, we talk also about environmental change and global warming. So to hear that Kean is leading the way on, with China as well as the U.S. campus is absolutely amazing. I think that Kean is very much at the forefront of this.
Yeah.
I can talk a little bit about the Watson Institute and the work for the Center of the Urban Environment, which really focuses on environmental justice in communities where you have heat maps and urban heating. So we talked about the wonderful campus that Kean provides here in Union, which really has a lot of trees. And we talk about the Shade Act at one point, which really is about making sure that we have trees and trees planted in urban communities that help to mitigate some of the heating that we're seeing in these spaces. So Kean is really at the forefront with leadership like yours and others who were on this committee that helps us to do that. But I also want to ask, as we talk about the various layers and levels of sustainability, we can look at wellness as well. And I know that Dr. Repollet has a great wellness program that brings balance to the campus, to students, to faculty, to our administrators. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that impacted our score on this scale?
Yeah, it was a great help, the initiatives that had taken off already at the time that we had submitted our application, because it's an important part of this. There's a well-being and work category under planning and administration, and those categories break down into employee compensation, assessing employee satisfaction, university's wellness program, as well as workplace health and safety. And we earned some nice points in that category. I can already see from the time that we submitted the application to now that if we submitted today, we would get some more. And with the stuff that the president and his wellness team are planning for the future, this will definitely advance our path towards gold and beyond in the future.
Well, that's it, Barbara. Another successful season of Urban Impact. I certainly had a great time with you this season, and I think we learned a lot.
Mike, I always enjoy riding along with you, and we've learned so much this season. I can't imagine that it's like season 2 done already. And, this season covering wellness has been absolutely insightful.
And not just wellness, we had so many different topics and so many inspiring faculty members and staff members and external folks. I mean, was there an episode for you that you said, wow, I really walked away just feeling like I knew a lot more about this topic and maybe even inspired to change something you were doing in your life?
I would say all of the topics, but I can tell you that with Professor Edgley and sustainability, it really opened my eye to all of the little things, the little changes that we all can make in our day-to-day lives that really would impact the climate and impact our future on the planet. So I was really impressed by Professor Edgley. I think she is truly the sustainability ambassador.
She is definitely almost a little scary. I was like envisioning her daily routine at home, and I said, this is awesome.
Shamed me.
I was shamed. I felt I need to step up my game. Here I am acting like I'm doing something. I also want to just acknowledge some of the work and the conversations we talked with one of our professors this year around trauma-informed care, trauma-informed instruction. And I'll tell you, it was really inspiring, but also eye-opening on what not only are our students dealing with, not just in the classroom, but externally, but their families, what communities are processing. It certainly is a topic that we need to continue to talk about.
I would agree. And I think I was impressed by everyone who came and we had the opportunity to speak with this season. But I think also the adaptive PE with Fields of Dreams out in Ocean County, I think that's an amazing opportunity for us to really engage in that community. We have the opportunity, I should say, at the Watson Institute of working with the State Department of Health and looking at the ableist community and engaging more and ensuring that there is an inclusivity in all aspects of how we live and work and play in New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about that and visiting the Field of Dreams.
That was an episode we we both could have cried over it. We were sitting here. Most of these are inspiring. That one was not only inspiring, but so heartfelt. The work. I keep going back to this because the work of a true teacher is way beyond the classroom walls. It's it's the connections, the relationships. It's visiting and inspiring those to act and do great things outside of the classroom. So certainly really inspiring. And I do want to jump over to the environmental justice, environmental sustainability. Do you remember that episode?
I absolutely do. I work directly with Dr. Nikki Sheets, and so I love that he is so committed to climate change, particularly in urban communities and communities that are under-resourced, and to be able to look at pollutants and, the science that he shared with us on how we can think about particulate matter pollutants and what that means for asthma. Speaking of, wellness, how that impacts our communities with asthma and other health conditions. We don't typically think about these things comprehensively and how they impact our lives, and the way that we move in our urban centers or rural centers in the state. So I was really excited to learn more about the work of the Environmental Center and what it means to really work on environmental justice. And I think that also speaks to our colleague, Jun Cheng.
He's out in the ocean in the fall, which is, if you know the Atlantic Ocean, the fall, it's hurricane season. There's a lot going on out there. And he's out with students doing research in terms of the way sand rolls and coastal resiliency, and just picturing him in a kayak in Long Branch with a student, and I joked around. I said, "Did you tip? Because you were out there last week during there was a hurricane that week." He said, "Yes, I did." I mean, it was just hysterical. But I have to say, every podcast that we have, I feel like we open something. Because the great thing about our faculty and the people we have as guests is they have so much depth to every topic. I mean, when you were just talking about Nikki Sheets in terms of clean energy, I mean, we just opened the can there. We could have talked for hours, and I felt like that with every guest we had.
I would agree. What I love about our colleagues and the work that we're doing at Kean University is that it's so global. It's so interconnected to state policy and what is happening around the world. We're like a microcosm, right, of things that are going on around the world and how we are preparing our students to be those engineers and the solution providers of our future.
Sure. And then I don't want to lose sight of how we kicked off the season talking about the architecture and the design and how that's connected to wellness and commerce. That was a pretty inspiring episode. And then we concluded with our very own Felice Vazquez here on campus and the work that she is doing on the Presidential Task Force for Sustainability.
And the wonderful work that they're doing with their ability to get a silver star rating the first time out the gate says a lot about how we feel about our planet and sustainability at Kean.
And the best part about it is it's no one person, it's no one action, it's a collaborative, collective effort where people are coming together for a really great cause. And what's more inspiring than that?
I think it's a culture.
Absolutely. We are creating a culture of sustainability here.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Mike, thanks again for the ride along in season 2, and here's to season 3.
Thank you for listening to Urban Impact, a podcast produced by Kean, New Jersey's Urban Research University. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get podcasts. For more information, visit kean.edu/urban-impact.